Today, we have an important update on the developments in Eastern Europe that could significantly change the safety situation in the area. What are the consequences for nearby nations of the ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine that has shocked the continent? Will there be a substantial change in alliances? Join us as we explore the most recent events, conflicts, and likely results that are igniting the fire in Eastern Europe. But first, let's ask this challenging question to ourselves. How have the security requirements and components in Eastern Europe been drastically altered by the conflict between Ukraine and Russia? Has Russia's aggression compelled historically neutral countries like Finland and Sweden to adopt dramatic measures? Most importantly, could these circumstances influence their decision to enlist in the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO? Stay with us as we explore this important topic in detail.
We also agree that we must stand together as we face the greatest security crisis in a generation.
Finland and Sweden have embraced their neutrality with pride for many years, remaining outside of armed alliances. But the ongoing crisis between Russia and Ukraine has compelled these previously neutral countries to reassess their safety requirements and act forcefully against Russian aggression. What exactly happened in Finland and Sweden? What effect has the conflict had on their view of neutrality? Finland and Sweden were at the forefront of escalating tensions following the conflict between Ukraine and Russia. They were intensely conscious of the security risks because of how close their borders were to Russia. Finland, which is renowned for keeping a careful balance in its relations with its powerful neighbor, was at a crucial juncture. Finland made a significant choice last spring when it applied to join NATO. This action not only demonstrated Finland's security worries, but also signaled a change in the country's long-standing neutrality policy. Since Finland joined NATO, its northwest frontier effectively became a NATO border, which could change the regional geopolitical dynamics. What about Sweden, though? While Sweden is still considering joining NATO, Finland has already made the move. However, the crisis has forced Sweden to reevaluate its neutrality and consider if it is necessary to ally with NATO in order to increase security. As tensions in the Baltic and Nordic regions increase, pressure on Sweden to make a decision has increased. Swedish political discussions have been sparked by concerns over potential Russian aggression. Should Sweden, in order to safeguard its security, follow Finland's example and enlist in NATO? The solution to this query has important ramifications for both Sweden and the larger geopolitical context of Eastern Europe. Sweden's hesitation is caused by a number of things. The nation's historical adherence to neutrality, which has defined its foreign policy for generations, is an important consideration. There are concerns about the potential consequences and the influence on Sweden's regional relations if this long-standing custom is abandoned. Sweden must also carefully analyze the geopolitical effects of its choice. Inevitably, joining NATO would boost the alliance's presence near the Russian border, escalating tensions in an area of concern. Sweden must assess the apparent advantages of joining the alliance against the risk of provoking a strong Russian response. Both countries are taking bold moves and exchanging heated words as the escalating tensions between Sweden and Russia reach a critical point. The stakes have increased due to the conflict in Ukraine and Sweden's potential allegiance to NATO, creating a risky game of cat and mouse. So, how has Russia reacted to these developments? And what does this mean for the area?
Russia has warned that the entry of Finland and Sweden into NATO would lead to a militarization of the Baltic region.
Russia's initial response to Finland and Sweden's pursuit of NATO membership was one of subdued hostility. But when Finland's membership in the alliance became a reality, Russia's position grew more rigid. It became apparent that NATO now bordered Russia's northwest flank, possibly shifting the region's power dynamics. Russia's response became even more fierce when the Russian ambassador in Sweden declared that the Scandinavian countries had become legitimate targets for Russia's retaliatory measures, including military actions. These reckless comments from Russia only served to build up tensions and spark worries about the possible consequences. Sweden didn't think twice about retaliating against Russia's aggressive remarks. The Russian ambassador was promptly called out by the Swedish Ministry of Foreign Affairs, who condemned the clear attempt to meddle in their sovereign decision-making process. Tobias Billström, the foreign minister of Sweden, made it clear that no one else has the authority to determine Sweden's security strategy. Russia and Sweden are engaged in a verbal battle that has escalated into allegations and denials. The Russian embassy in Sweden criticized Sweden's backing for Ukraine and accused it of turning into an American colony. In the meantime, the Swedish government clearly asserted its sovereignty and its commitment to defend its national interests, warning Russia about the consequences of its actions. It is crucial to remember that Russia had long threatened Sweden with technical and military measures if it aspired to join NATO. In spite of these threats, the Swedish government remained steadfast. It chose to issue stern warnings as a substitute, letting everyone know that it would not be intimidated or pressured into changing its course. Sweden's steadfast opposition to Russian aggression sends a strong message to other nations. It emphasizes the value of national sovereignty and the freedom of nations to determine their own security. The impact of Russia's reckless words has been effectively muted by the firm response of the Swedish government. The future is still unclear as hostilities between Sweden and Russia worsen. The future of events in the Baltic and Nordic regions will surely be influenced by emerging new innovations. Wide-ranging implications may result from Sweden's probable adherence to NATO and support for Ukraine. Sweden has shown a great deal of support for Ukraine in its struggle against Russian aggression while managing the complications of its relationship with Russia. It has not gone unnoticed that Sweden is committed to giving Ukraine military assistance. How has Sweden's support for Ukraine affected the continuing war, and what role has it played? Sweden has been an essential provider of military assistance to Ukraine ever since the start of the conflict. Long-range anti-tank missiles, coastal defense systems, howitzers, light tanks, and countless tons of military supplies are also part of this assistance. To suit Ukraine's needs, Sweden has even doubled its ability to produce military weapons. A key declaration regarding the delivery of Archer 155mm self-propelled howitzers to Ukraine was made by the Swedish government in January. This development signaled a significant advancement in Sweden's military assistance to Ukraine. In order to combat Russian forces, Ukraine would have improved offensive capabilities thanks to the artillery system. Although the exact date of delivery of this military assistance is yet unknown, considering Sweden's prior declarations of intent and the urgency of the situation, it is most likely to take place soon. By enhancing Ukraine's defense capabilities, this aid may have an effect on the current conflict. But Sweden's assistance to Ukraine extends beyond mere military support. It covers a whole strategy that includes capacity building, humanitarian aid, and diplomatic engagement. International attention and support have been drawn to Sweden's dedication to the Ukrainian cause as it fights with Ukraine for independence and sovereignty. Due to Sweden's involvement in the crisis, Russia has not been pleased. It sees Sweden's collaboration with Ukraine as a provocation and a potential risk to its own interests, and has threatened it with military reinforcements close to its borders. Beyond bilateral relations, Sweden's support for Ukraine could have effects that further agitate the already fragile regional dynamics. The consequences of the ongoing conflict between Ukraine and Russia are felt far beyond the direct front lines of battle. Neutral countries like Finland and Sweden are being forced to make challenging decisions as the delicate power balance in Eastern Europe shifts. Will they sign up for NATO? How is Russia going to react? Only time will tell. What role can NATO play in this complicated environment of rising tensions and changing security challenges? How should the alliance handle the short and long-term evolution of the Russian threat as it grows? Are there specific actions NATO can take to improve the region's defense, deterrence, and stability? So guys, this is it for today. Hope you found this video informative. If you did, make sure to hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more educational and informative content like this. We'll see you in the next video. Till then, take care and goodbye.